Hey there, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you tuning in. My name is Luke, and I am a guitarist here in Nashville. And I just wanted to make this video kind of having an opportunity to talk about a piece of gear that has really helped me in terms of getting more bookings and also in getting more tips as I've been performing around Nashville. And so that piece of equipment is a wireless system, and I use that for my guitar, so I'm able to walk around as I'm performing, interacting with the guests that I'm performing for. But kind of a backstory to all of this is I noticed that when I would get hired for like a background music type gig, cocktail hour, I would set up my equipment beforehand and I would be put off to the side, maybe in the corner off to the side, and usually I'd be sitting on a stool or a chair plugged in with my guitar, and really it just kind of felt like I was an afterthought, or people didn't really notice I was there. And I did have some interactions at the end of my performances, like people would compliment me on how the music sounded, but I feel like for the most part people kind of forgot that I was there. And so as I continued to develop myself as a musician, as a performer, trying to figure out a way to really leave a lasting impression on people. So I was talking to my friend Moses Lynn, who is a guitarist out in California. He does a lot of weddings and special events, and he was telling me that he just started to use a wireless system, a Shure wireless system, and that it's been a game changer for him. He just mentioned how really the guests really remember him a lot, and it leaves a lasting impression on them because he is interacting with them, not just musically, but also personally, just getting to know them, sharing more about himself. And so I took his advice. I went ahead and purchased the Shure QLXD, and that specific model works really well in the Nashville area. If you're based in Nashville, highly recommend that model. But if you're somewhere else in the country, go ahead and look on the Shure website at all the different variations and models that they have, and you could find which one works specifically better for the frequencies that are available in your area. So I purchased the one that works really well in Nashville, and it's also compatible to a lot of the cities that are, or towns that are out in East Tennessee that I've performed at. So I want to make sure that it was compatible with both. And so anyways, I purchased it, and I think the very first gig that I had with it, I was at the West Haven Golf Club. They had a series running through the summer where they'd have different local artists come and play for people when they were eating dinner. And so I arrived to the venue, I set up and ran a sound check. I'll go ahead and actually insert a video of my sound check here. And then after the sound check, I was able to interact with the people as they started to show up for dinner, and I would walk around in between the tables or walk out into the green area right outside of the patio. And what I found really surprising was maybe a day or two later, it was pretty much immediately after I performed there, I received an email from some guests that were there. They said, "Hey, we saw you performing at West Haven, and we really want to hire you for 2 events that we have going on later this year." And that really stood out to me as not only like an effective way to get booking, but also being able to see immediately in their feedback what stood out to them. They said that they saw me performing here. Obviously they heard me, they enjoyed the music, but the fact that they said that they saw me, they noticed I was there. Whereas I think if I were sitting down in a corner off to the side, I don't know if they would have seen me. So that was very great feedback to get right away, being able to see the direct correlation between purchasing the system and getting hired for 2 more gigs. And right away it paid for itself, which is pretty amazing. And later that summer, I started working at, or I continued to work at the very beginning of the summer, I was hired as a residency gig, at the Wyndham Resort out in the Opryland area, and I would play at their pool for 2 hours every Saturday. And for the first couple of gigs there, I would show up, set up, the whole thing, plug in my guitar, and I'd have my base pay, but then I would be able to get tips there. And so for 2 hours of performing there, usually I'd make $15 to $20 in tips. Not a ton, but it was all right. And immediately after I got the wireless system and started using it more after the West Haven gig, started using it at the pool, and I noticed that a lot more tips were coming in. So I would average maybe $50 to $60 in tips for a 2 hour set, just from walking around, talking to people, asking, hey, where are you guys from? Where are you visiting from? Welcome to Nashville. And telling them a little bit more about myself. Oh yeah, I'm a student at Belmont, I'm a grad student studying music. And people really enjoyed the fact that they were able to get to know me, not just as a musician, but as a person, and that I was able to, show some mutual interest in getting to know them, where they're coming from, how long they're going to be in Nashville, that kind of thing, just kind of some small talk. And I think people really appreciate how genuine interactions can be created through the ability to walk around and not be tied up with the cords that I used to be tied up with. So yeah, if you're a musician like myself, just trying to get started making a living as a musician, or you're already making a living as a musician and you're trying to just kind of take the next step and improving your playing or your performance style, I would highly recommend the Shure QLXD, or specifically for Nashville, but go ahead and look at which specific model would work well for where you're based. And also it depends on the situation that you'd be using it in, right? So let's say you're a guitarist in a band and you're playing on stage. You wouldn't need to invest a ton of money and get the Shure specific model that I'm referencing. You could save some money and have a wireless system that uses direct line of sight. So with the transmitter and receiver, as long as they're able to have a direct line of sight, it'll be able to work properly without losing a signal. That's if you're on stage with a band and you're not planning on going out into the audience and mingling with people. But if you're a musician like myself, where you're walking around during a cocktail hour or something like that and really interacting with people and walking away from your pedal board, I would recommend the higher end Shure model, because it really does offer the reliability aspect of securing your signal, making sure it doesn't drop out. It doesn't matter if you lose direct line of sight, it still is able to have that secure connection between your instrument and the pedal board. So yeah, I would definitely recommend that, looking into that, if you're looking to get more gigs or just take that next step. And so for myself, as I've performed at weddings, been able to play a lot of cocktail hours, been able to really utilize that system a lot, and been able to see direct feedback through reviews that couples will leave me saying that their guests really enjoyed talking with me, interacting with me, seeing me perform, because I do make sure to make a point of getting to know the people that are there, walk out, play some music, and then in between songs, talk with people. And even during some songs, people will come up and start talking to me, and depending on how well I know the song, I'm able to talk to them while I'm still playing, but sometimes it's like patting your head and rubbing your stomach at the same time. So usually I try to talk to people in between songs. But yeah, I would go ahead and check that out. I really think it would be a huge help if you're trying to grow your business, get more bookings, stuff like that. And yeah, thank you for tuning in. I plan on doing more videos that are similar to this, just things that I'm learning as a musician, whether that be music or things that I'm learning as an entrepreneur in terms of business and how I'm able to grow my business as a musician, being able to get more bookings, get more leads, how I manage my leads, stuff like that. So if you appreciate this type of content and want to tune in more, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, follow me, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. That would be really appreciated. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video.